Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back to Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better. We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into a Sunday edition of More Important Issues. It is Sunday, December 5th. We are live after a somewhat eventful Tennessee weekend. You did have a few things going on in the state of Tennessee in general, so that's always good too. Had a small win. Well, first off, state championships. We talked about them a little bit last week, and what may be happening there in Chattanooga. A couple state champions crowned. I'll say a couple. Tennessee has a billion. Probably way too many. I'll save that debate for another night, though. That'll be an off-season debate. How many classifications can Tennessee have? Then you
less than Florida. Don't they have like 8?
Tennessee has 9, right?
Oh, I guess do they have
They
like
may have
private
they may have
schools
private
stuff?
they may have private school divisions. Yeah, I also don't know what the population looks like, but
Yeah.
that'd be actually fun to look at. I know like North Dakota has or South Dakota one has a stupid amount of classifications. You can decide if it waters down your team's championship.
They play
I won't argue that
7-on-7.
with you.
They don't even play 11.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to talk about Tennessee basketball. Tennessee football officially got sent to the Music City Bowl. They will be in Nashville. I think that's fair and good. I think Tennessee can take advantage of a local bowl game, if you will. So, especially with some of the in-state recruits that Tennessee are still active on. I don't know if I'll say, trending towards, because a lot of them are already committed, but active at least on. It's not done until it's done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people wanted to go to Florida, but they're always going to side with a better record, so that's why we didn't end up. We got screwed by our non-conference scheduling. So,
yeah, I mean, I think all in all, I think it's a good bowl for Tennessee to be in, and a good kind of good way to potentially capitalize off a good year. And I mean, Purdue is not a great team, but someone mentioned they do have 2 top 5 wins.
they do, yeah.
So
They got a quarterback who can throw it. So Tennessee's DBs, especially not having Alontae Taylor, is going to be something to watch there. So yeah, a lot of stuff to watch in that game. That matchup, I think, is a good one. I guess it's another Big Ten team.
I think it's good for Tennessee. I think it is a good opponent that you can beat. So I think it benefits.
Take the over.
I mean,
how about that?
you could say the same thing for Purdue. If they want to act like Tennessee's a trash program, then what can you really say if you win?
Right.
I'd say the same thing to some Tennessee fans too, if we want to call Purdue a trash program. But we've got I mentioned basketball. Traveled out to Colorado this weekend, and then Texas Tech on Tuesday night. That game's in Madison Square Garden, right?
Yep.
In Madison Square Garden. We'll also do a college football recap, some good championship games, some boring ones. I'd say more on the boring end for a lot of those, but they got the job done. They didn't leave us. I don't cry about having college football ever. So
yeah. I mean, that was how these 4:00 games in the NFL were good. But other than that, most of them were kind of blowouts today.
Yeah, the Cincinnati LA one got kind of interesting, but it was always kind of in hand. It just got you had it at a point where maybe you could see a turn, but it was really always in hand for LA. But that was a 1:00 game. But yeah, don't cry about football. If you got some questions, drop them in the chat. I'll hop over on Twitter right now. And then of course we got our segments of the week. I may stray away from them, may sound more stupid. There's been a lot of stupid things said in the world of college football and college basketball this week. Coaches.
Yeah.
A lot of just dumb comments. Especially from the people I'm going to pull out of here. So,
well, then you have coaches acting like they have people acting like coaches. You have, people recruiting catfishing.
Oh, that I told you, we're just gonna act like that story's true. I don't need any more sources.
We talked about it on. I know you weren't here on Thursday, but we talked about it a little bit on Thursday. Of like that's the creepiest thing I've ever heard of.
Which apparently it's a common thing, but I'm just like, why not have a? Which I get. You can't text all of them as often as you want to. But why is there not a way to combat things like that, or combat like if he asks a specific question? You want an intern answering that? You don't want the intern to be like, hey, check the messages real quick.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Very weird. And most of these kids are underage. It's just very creepy to me.
Which then you get into the coaches calling those kids at night anyways is already a little like the college recruiting already is a little creepy when you kind of lay it out there. Yeah. Yeah. So don't think about it too much. Otherwise you'll find yourself being kind of creepy. We're all following the words of 17, 18-year-olds for the next couple months now. It's a little weird. If you got questions though, drop them in there. Let's talk Music City right now. That's I know a lot of people
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. What did it used to be? Well, last time we were in Music City, it wasn't trans perfect.
Man, I have a shirt too. I thought about wearing it, but I didn't.
Ooh, Tennessee wore gray jerseys last time they played in Music City. Do you see a return of the dark mode?
Maybe.
It
was Franklin American Mortgage.
That's it.
Yeah. How did I forget that?
I don't hate being in the Music City Bowl, but two things. The first one we need to address is the absurd ticket prices. Gouging. It's gouging from the actual organization. It's stupid. You're not going to sell it out, especially what you bumped the tickets up to. I think some people said some were going for $175 that were just $100 a week ago. So you're not going to sell it out, gouging the fans. Like Tennessee fans are going to support, but everyone.
If you clicked on the link today, they're like the cheapest one was like $50.
No, I'm not saying the cheapest was 175. Tickets that were 100 last week were 175 this week.
Oh, nice.
So the gouging, stupid. Second thing, fix the field. The last time Tennessee played there, I don't think there was a Tennessee end zone. I think they were like all bowl themed, and then you could still see the Titans overlay.
Yeah,
if you're gonna put on a bowl game, put on a bowl game. Don't half-ass it. The best way to say that.
Yeah.
Like go in and you want the end zones to represent both teams. That's traditional of a bowl game. You want the field to look good. I know the things around Nashville, like the day before, the day after the game, are going to be fun. Day of the game, like I know those things really don't have to do with the game. It's just the city itself. Do the bowl game right, for God's sakes. You're going to make a lot of money off this. Don't be lazy about it.
Yeah, that was one thing that I thought of. As soon as they said Purdue, as soon as they kind of announced it that we're going to be, I think Brett McMurphy had the first tweet about it, and everybody's like, oh, it's not been tweeted out yet. Well, everybody else has tweeted out the opponents for every other thing. It's happening, okay? But I was like, Purdue's literally paying all this money to come down here and boost our economy.
Yeah, Tennessee benefits from it. Get the Tennessee economy. Is Bill Lee still paying people $150 to come here? How do I get that from Johnson City? Can I do it? Or is it just out of state people? He can pay for my ticket.
Yeah, maybe just maybe step on over to Bristol and then claim it and then come back over.
Okay. All right. There you go. Yeah. I like that. But yeah, I mean, all in all, we mentioned it because Music City Bowl was one of the games that was kind of on Tennessee's radar before bowl eligibility, just when the balls were kind of trending that direction. And yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned like going to Nashville or Charlotte. It doesn't feel like a trip per se, but I think with Tennessee trying to, I mean, you saw the stadium this year, and I don't think it's as much of an indictment on Josh Heupel and this current team as it is just where the program's been the last 10 years. Like even when you had, the year Tennessee should have gone to the Sugar Bowl, they played in Music City. I think it's just an indictment of where the program's been. So, I mean, I think generating in-state exposure, if you will, because I don't know if exposure is the right word because Tennessee has plenty of it, but generating that, positivity, hopefully you go in and win the bowl game all across the state, I think is going to be beneficial. And Music City is not a premier bowl, but it's also not the Liberty Bowl, which is another in-state bowl.
Yeah, and if we don't play Pittsburgh's best team since they won the national championship under Majors, we're in Florida, 100%.
Depending on who, Tennessee's been scheduling solid out-of-conference teams in terms of like Oklahoma, Oregon.
Kentucky.
So, hey, they play Louisville every single year. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think, depending on who you play there, it certainly could. But Pittsburgh obviously was a tough test. Kind of interested to see next year when you don't have Kenny Pickett. I can't wait to talk about Kenny Pickett when we get to the college football recap. But no, I think it's good for Tennessee to be in Nashville. I think a Nashville Bowl is going to be better for like the next 2 or 3 years than, or at least the same as a bowl in Jacksonville.
Yeah, my thing is like if you're going to go to the Gator Bowl or the Outback Bowl, like you're still going to probably play another. Or I think the Outback Bowl is a Big Ten team.
It's a Big Ten.
I mean, like what's the like? You're not in the college football playoff. You're not in the New Year's Six Bowl. So what's really the difference?
Yeah, there's not much at stake anyway. So I think playing in the state's going to be fun. That it'll be close to a sellout if the ticket prices are
it sucks.
Good.
It's on a Thursday at 3:00. That's
is it a Thursday?
I think so.
For some reason, when I looked today, I thought it was a Monday, and I was like, I probably won't be going to that.
Yeah, Thursday. Yep.
Oh, is it the 23rd?
It's the 30th.
Oh, the 30th. Okay. I thought it was the 20th for some reason. Okay. 30th. Yeah. Okay. That's not bad. It's around the holidays. It's doable for a lot of people, but that may even get more Nashville people there. And I'm sure Tennessee will use that day, that week as a, I don't know how much you can get recruits there, but I'm sure they'll do their best to work that out and get people in the stadium and around the team and program.
Yeah, my advice, the people that are going to probably stay there through, Friday and Saturday through New Year's, don't go to Broadway.
Don't find somewhere else to go for New Year's.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be paying over probably $100 to get in any bar down there. So good luck.
Yeah, just don't do it. That's my advice. That is my advice. I know we'll preview Purdue when we get closer to that game. We kind of mentioned the team they are right now, though, and I think it is not that I don't, like Tennessee's chances against the majority of any Big Ten team, but I think when you're talking about like a good matchup for because you want to win the bowl game,
right?
And if you're not, like you said, if you're not playing the college football playoff, you don't want to give yourself an incredibly tough task doing so. But I think it's a good matchup. We mentioned they do have 2 top 5 wins against Iowa and Michigan State, who are now have taken quite the fallbacks, but still top 5 wins. So you can't discredit that. They did score 31 on Ohio State, who was playing really good football at that time. And I mean, Michigan's obviously playing really good. I just think when you talk about a team you can go and beat, you also get that plus Graham Morgan said it in state recruiting tool.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup. O'Connell's a really good quarterback. He's not a running quarterback, but he will if you're not able to get pressure, he will pick you apart. David Bell is one of the best wide receivers in the country. I think he has over 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 90-something catches, and they're 47% on third down. So those are kind of the things that really stood out to me just looking at them as a whole. They have lost some head scratchers. The Minnesota game was just a weird. They scored 13 points in that game, and they go score 31 against Ohio State. Just a weird. It just seems like they get up. For some reason, Purdue just has that underdog mentality. When they go play a top 5 team, they seem to just play out of their minds. And you saw that with Rondale Moore a couple years ago against Ohio State.
Good news, Tennessee won't be anywhere close to a top 5 team. So
true.
Good news on that front for now.
But what about Tennessee's losses, I know Florida it doesn't look like a good loss, but at that time they just given Alabama a game.
Yeah, I mean,
And then,
we kind of talked about this last Sunday. I mean, there's not like any in terms of if you're just looking at win-loss, there's not like a bad loss on that schedule when you talk about who you lost to. Florida, I will say, is not a great loss, but like you just said, you have to look at the context of it.
Yeah. And then everybody else, Ole Miss won 10 games. They're going to play in the Sugar Bowl. Alabama, Georgia's in the college football playoff. Pittsburgh just won an ACC title. So, and they won 10 games. So it's just, what can you do?
Yeah, and then kind of talking about how I said just when you grade the win-loss column, you obviously have to fix a lot of those blowouts if you want to start closing the gap on the Georgias and the Alabamas. And then that Florida loss, like I said, when you look back on it, it's not a great loss. It was a blowout. Won't sugarcoat that. Tennessee made it kind of look decently okay in the fourth quarter. And then, a lot. The frustrating thing about the Pitt loss is the quarterback situation. If you iron out who your quarterback is and you have Hendon Hooker going into that game, it's hard not to say Tennessee probably wins that. And then the Ole Miss, you're talking about, you mentioned what could plague Tennessee against Purdue. You're talking about third and fourth down. If Tennessee's good on third and fourth down against Ole Miss, decent, you probably win that game. So then you get into the frustrating part of those losses.
And even some stuff that like Tennessee couldn't control, like officiating. You had that one against Pittsburgh where it's clearly Hendon Hooker gets the first down and they marked him short. And then you don't get it on fourth down. And then they call back a defensive touchdown by Tyler Barron against Ole Miss. Yeah. That would have been a game changer in that game. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Tennessee, it just seems like we always play teams at their best. And really couldn't catch a break this season,
which is a compliment.
Yeah, but still ended up 7-5 into a bowl game. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're 6-6, like we kind of predicted them, and that's even probably being a little homer in there. But I think it was overall success, and I think it's a success to be in the Music City Bowl. It's not, again, going back to if you're in the Outback Bowl. Gator Bowl, or it's the same. It's the same.
I would have been excited for the Outback. Gives a little bit more exposure, it feels like. But Gator Bowl,
yeah, no one wants to go to Jacksonville.
I'm okay with Music City when you.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Nashville than Jacksonville.
Oh, for sure.
Now Tampa, I'd rather be in Tampa than Nashville, especially at this point in the year.
Yeah. I know we'll even grade. We'll definitely talk more Purdue when we get to that point. We'll even grade Tennessee football as a season when it's
Jeff
over.
Brom, we forgot Tennessee's former coach.
And you're an idiot if you don't believe he was coming here or whatever he said about the attendance, whatever.
Dude, what would be like awesome if Jimmy Himes, which he would never do this, but if he like got a picture with Jeff Brom and like made a joke about it.
Oh, I mean, just give us a picture that we can like Photoshop a contract in there. Of him holding like a negated contract.
Yeah, well, maybe pay Jeff Brom like $100 to say I was coming here.
Some NIL.
Yeah.
Which, hey, Jeff Brom did what I said I would do. If I'm Brian Kelly, if I'm Lane Kiffin, if we want to go back that far, and I'm sure there's plenty of other coaches. If I'm a coach, I would simply tell my program, like my AD, that I'm my new AD. And Jeff Brom may have done this. If this leaks before I can tell my team, I'm not coming there. Because then you iron out, you find out if your AD's on your side from day one, he's not going to run to the media about bull crap. You find out if those lower level people are on the same page as you. But why would I want to burn relationships with guys on that? Like, no one from Notre Dame is going to transfer to LSU.
Hell no.
The way that went down. No matter how good they are.
And especially the way like they were kind of the forefront of hiring Marcus Freeman. That's what the players wanted.
Right. So none of them are transferring to well, I'm just saying, why burn those bridges?
Yeah.
With a program and when you don't have to.
And How are you this? Like, you're the number 5 team in the country. You had a shot at the college football playoff, and it's kind of your own fault that you won't join a conference. But how do you only spend 11 minutes saying goodbye to your team? I'll never understand.
Less than that, wasn't it? I thought it was like 4.
I heard that they timed it from when he came in to when he left campus was 11 minutes.
Oh yeah. The speech I think was like 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like
with no Southern accent.
No, yeah, he mentioned family in that. This is my family. I'm like, what?
Credit to him for going all in. I love it. I love it. He said, "I'm here."
You're taking acting classes.
Exactly. If I'm here, I'm going to be here. I respect that. But yeah, so maybe hey, get a good picture with Jeff Brom there, Jimmy Holmes. Tennessee fans would love it. Maybe
how we were joking that
yourself.
Jeremy Pruitt was turning into Philip Fulmer like each day.
Oh yeah,
he looked more and more like Philip Fulmer. Maybe he's trying to be Coach O.
Maybe. I think there's probably something to that. He's like, where's the good crawfish around here?
Yeah. How do I win a national championship?
First
of all, he's like, this guy can't even speak English. How the hell did he win a national championship?
That would be it too. If we could see the progression into Coach O, where like you could understand him at his goodbye speech to like in 6 months, you can't understand a damn word Brian Kelly's saying. That would be fantastic.
That would be great.
I'd love to track that one. I'd love to track that progression. No, that was all about Jeff Brom, though. I'd love to. That'd be good to give us a good laugh. Let us chuckle a little bit. Let us chuckle. Let's talk recruiting front. I know Tennessee's still got a lot of work to do. I know some people are going to talk about, the quality of guys we're getting, but the fact is Tennessee just needed commitments right now. They did get one from an official visitor this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean that's 2 in the past 2 weeks. It feels like you found some momentum in recruiting a little bit. Had a lot of guys on campus this weekend. We'll see if it turns into any more. There's another guy trending there. But first, we'll get to Jordan Thomas, Tennessee's most recent commit. He just recently decommitted from Mississippi State, and then on his official visit this weekend, committed to Tennessee. He's a 3-star safety. 6'2", 190 pounds out of Montgomery, Alabama. Offer from Mississippi State, Indiana, South Carolina. Just a few to mention there. Really likes Willie Martinez, Tim Banks. I think they were his – Willie Martinez was his primary recruiter, and then Tim Banks is in there as well. But yeah, a big safety, likes to hit. I watched his highlight tape yesterday, I think. And, likes to fill the lane and come up and help in run support, which, we're all about big hits on this show. So, like that, and got a few interceptions. I think 2 interceptions this season, 2 sacks. So maybe a guy that you can use in that nickel a little bit,
Yeah.
And I think safety is, kind of wide open on this roster too, but I think it's a kid who can play multiple positions in the secondary for you.
Yeah, and Tennessee's going to need to replace some of that. So definitely going to need to try to find guys that are versatile in the secondary. But I'm actually curious to see bowl game. You mentioned Alontae Taylor. I'm sorry to go away from like recruits. I'm curious to see some of the guys on campus, how impactful they can be. And I think you'll find out at least a few of those in the bowl game. So
okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's been to Tennessee a couple times. Was there for the South Carolina game, so he got to kind of see that atmosphere and just kind of fell in love with it. So, really good pickup for Tennessee. Hopefully, they can continue this momentum. I know Caleb Webb is another guy that's trending toward Tennessee. Just decommitted from Eastern Carolina today. His recruitment's really picked up. Got a lot of offers here recently. And I'll see if I can find those real quick. But he's at Powder Springs, Georgia. Yep, Powder Springs, Georgia. Just got a bump from 247, and they have him as the 191 overall player in the country. So was kind of a 3-star. Again, just kind of came on late, had a really good senior season. Offers from Michigan, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Houston, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. So, his even though he just decommitted from ECU, this kid has a lot of options out there. I think he liked ECU because they were one of the first ones that offered him. Kind of hopped on that offer, but kind of blew up in recruitment. So he was on his official visit this weekend too. So he just decommitted. So you think any time now we'll see Caleb Webb in this class as well.
Right. Do you want to talk about any of those official visitors this weekend, or?
Yeah.
We don't have to.
The big guy that just won a state championship from Powell, Walter Nolan, was on his official visit. He didn't start his until Saturday morning. So I think his goes on until Monday, if I remember correctly. So we'll see. I mean, Eric Kane mentioned that the door is open.
Right. It's not over. I mean, it's not over until it's over, especially. I liked what someone said. I don't remember if this is due to a transfer. Someone tweeted it, just a random account, that with transfers and all that now, like, recruitment's really not over now until your eligibility is over. You can kind of end up anywhere. And, I mean, you saw it with the Ohio State, blanking on his name right now, the quarterback that left high school early. And
Edwards.
Yeah, now he's transferring from Ohio State, got his payday, never played a snap, and going back to Texas, it looks like. So it's not over until it's over.
But like, where in Texas is he going?
I saw Texas and Texas Tech were his front runners.
I mean, those programs are ass.
It's got NIL and playing time.
I guess.
Because he's a day one starter probably on either of those rosters.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I just haven't been offered that money at that age. But, dude, I want to go win. And looking at those two programs, I mean, they ain't winning.
Right.
Especially when Texas heads to the SEC here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, there's a reason Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Which I know he didn't coach USC, but it was kind of fitting that they lost to Cal in just abysmal fashion when he is officially the head coach. So,
yeah.
Love it.
Was he on the sideline?
Surely he might have been. He might have just been present. He wasn't coaching.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, surely he was there because that had to be it's a big recruiting weekend for them too.
Yeah. Walter Nolan was in town, won that state title. So I'm sure he came in a good mood. So we'll see where that. Apparently, his parents came in; they liked it, but I just don't get the appeal to Texas A&M. It would be different. Like, I get, like, they beat Alabama. You saw that in person. Boom, I'm going there. But the way they ended their season, I'm like, how are they pulling in? I know you just mentioned NIL, but how are they pulling in, like, 5 stars? I mean, we did it, and I was thinking the same thing. Like, how are we getting these 5 stars? And then it come to find out we're paying them. I guess it's legal now, so –
well, I mean, I told you, I think Texas coming to the SEC is going to put A&M in a tough spot where they kind of were in the Big 12. And, I mean, there's a lot of money in Texas, especially, that they allocate to football. So there's definitely money there in terms of NIL. Like, they'll make it work to get guys on campus. But, yeah, I mean, and then there is some appeal of Jimbo Fisher. He's a national championship coach. There's history with A&M. There's they did beat Alabama this year. I think they have enough going for them to keep the top guys wanting to come there. Not at the rate that you have Alabama and Georgia acquiring them for obvious reasons, but to keep the top guys still wanting to play there. I think I don't – if your goal is to win a national championship, I don't know how you can necessarily point to A&M because it's not like Jimbo's brought them to new heights or anything. Mm-hmm. But if you're just like, I believe in what's going on at A&M, I believe they have a chance.
How do you look at that? Like, looking at college football right now, you saw what Alabama was able to do to Georgia, who has the best defense ever, probably. I mean, if you don't have a good offense, you aren't going to win anything. And the way A&M played offense this season, I know Haynes King went down, but even with Haynes King, they weren't a national championship team.
No, not at all. Not at
And you're
all.
definitely not going to be one with Zach Calzada. I don't care if he played out of his mind against Alabama. I mean, they beat Alabama and Auburn, and they lost to every other team in the West.
Is that real?
Yeah, they lost Mississippi
Oh my
State.
God! I knew that. I knew they lost to State. Wow.
And Ole Miss. Yeah,
That's not good. That's no way to slice that.
I mean, those two teams, like, if you're looking at the West, you're thinking, if I'm A&M, I have to beat Auburn, Alabama, and I'm in the SEC championship. Easy. And they beat those two teams and still couldn't get there.
Yeah, it's not good. They definitely had a weird year, and injuries did play a part. They were plagued pretty early on. Whatever. We'll see what happens. Like I said, though, even if I think kind of the good thing maybe for Tennessee right now / could be a bad thing if you have stuff that happens in your program like last year. The good thing is if these guys if you're in and you've built relationships with these guys and they go to another school, that doesn't mean it's over forever.
Yep.
You could have a second shot at them.
Yeah, saw that with Cade Mays. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, you also had Jeffrey Umball, the number 1 JUCO player in the country. You had Desmond Williams, who is a 3-star cornerback that's from the junior college ranks as well.
So when do they grade those JUCO guys? Because I didn't see a star rating for. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name.
Umball.
Yeah.
I think it's different times. I don't really know. Like, I feel like that's tough because it's not like these kids like go to camps.
Right.
You're just looking at pretty much game film. So I don't know. I don't know how that actually works. But it is a lot later than like you're seeing these high school kids get a ranking like their sophomore year.
But I know like Tyon Evans was just, I don't know if it was like kind of generic 3-star, and then they redid the JUCO rankings and he got his 4th.
Right.
So I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Umball he's rated on 247 as the number 1 junior college player. But Desmond Williams doesn't have a ranking. He goes to East Central Community College. You had CJ Smith, who was a Florida commit. He also did his official visit. I mean, I saw the interview with him after this, and he said it went really well, but, you know, he kind of just said, I'm still committed to Florida, and I'm going to give the staff a chance. You know, if things go well, I'm going to go to Florida. So.
All right. It looks like they'll have some type of stable situation with Billy Napier. So,
yeah, I mean,
unfortunately.
Hey, I'm all for it. Take your visits. Somebody else is paying for it. Go see the country. Darren Agu is a Vanderbilt commit. I think he's a 4-star on some sites and 3 stars on other. But he's a 6'6", 225 edge player from Rabun Gap, Georgia. Rabun Gap.
Sounds good to me. You nailed it.
Yeah. That's all. And then you had Elijah Herring, who's been committed to Tennessee for, I think he was actually the first commit in this class from Riverdale High School in Murfreesboro. So a lot of guys. You have, I think, 2 more or actually 3 guys slated to officially visit next week. You have Justin Williams, 4-star running back, Tyree West, a 4-star defensive lineman and top 100 player that's committed to Georgia right now, and Amari Jackson, a cornerback that's committed to Boston College.
First step's get him on campus. See if you can keep him there.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hey.
No hostage situation there.
Get on that hype train, baby.
but see if you
Might
can
as well.
What do you have to lose? You know, that's my pitch. What do you have to lose?
I mean, you're gonna come here, win some games, score some points. I'd much rather score points and go 7-5 than be ass and win 8 games. How about that? I'm just
Who's the 8th? Who's the 8th game? Who's the 8th game?
I was like, 8th game's I'm more saying that to Texas A&M.
That's why I asked who the 8th game was. Because if it's Alabama,
I mean,
I'll take it. I'll take the 8th game. I'll be honest.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, if we just beat Alabama, I'm happy. I don't care if we win another game after that.
The 1-11 Tennessee Volunteers.
I mean, dude, that's how I felt about A&M. Looking at the rest of their season, I'm like, you beat that team?
A&M doesn't have the rivalry with Alabama, so these fans will disagree. But if it was the 1-11 Volunteers, not that I'd be happy, but I'd be happy for like a season.
You'd remember that team.
I would.
You'd never forget that team.
I absolutely would. Well, let's flip over. Let's change the mood to basketball. Let's hit the court here. Tennessee did travel to Boulder this weekend. Beautiful. I love Boulder. Did you go to Boulder when you were out there?
No, I didn't. I went to Red Rocks one day. Just kind of stayed around Denver. I heard Colorado Springs is somewhere we need to go. Boulder is somewhere we need to go. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to see the city. We're not big hiking people. So like I know Garden of the Gods is something like you don't have to really like hike. But yeah, that's most people are like, oh, you guys didn't hike? I'm like, no. I wanted to. Boulder's
a cool college town though. So
okay,
yeah, like it's a cool town. And then they do have some good hikes there too. So probably there's better hikes in Colorado. I'm sure that people would tell you, but I enjoyed my time in Boulder. Tennessee enjoyed their time in Boulder. Rick Barnes, Kennedy Chandler specifically enjoyed his time in Boulder, getting to 27 points. I got to think. I saw them. They were working out of the Brooklyn Nets facility. I got to think maybe some of the coaching staff might have been.
They're scouting him already.
I don't know the Brooklyn Nets situation, but I got to think when you get a kid like Kennedy Chandler in your building, no matter how it happened, you got to be kind of excited.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't. They probably don't even have a first round pick with who they got on their team for years to come. But yeah, I mean, do your due diligence, I guess. He's going to be gone way before the Brooklyn Nets ever see him. So
more than likely. Don't think he'll fall to the second round. A lot of scouts, I mean, they were excited coming in, and then they've seen him play and just get a little bit more fired up, according to all the media that's come about. But Tennessee got off to a slow start yesterday. But all in all, I mean, you finished out strong. There's not a ton you can really say to that. And I know it wasn't. I'd rather start. I'd rather start slow and finish strong than vice versa. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean they just had no answer for Kennedy Chandler. I think we're down 8-0 to start off the game, and he just went. He just seemed like he was fed up and just went to the basket and got a basket. He's I'm taking the top off this thing.
Which you need a guy that can do that, and Kennedy Chandler has that ability. Dude, his change of pace is what blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had a guy like Jordan Bone that had the speed to get to the basket. His ability to make defenders stop without really making a move, just in his change of pace, it's mind blowing. I mean, that's where
he's so smart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what sets him apart. I mean, yeah, there's been those quick athletic guards, but he's just so smart. Like
he knows when to be quick. He knows when to be slow. Like that's so. I guess the change of pace is a huge factor, but you got to knowing when to do it is what kind of what looks like is going to make him different than a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think a Purdue player said after the game, he's like, I mean, we tried everything and just couldn't. Like we tried switching, we tried going under screens, we tried going over screens, and he was like, he just made us pay with everything we threw at him. And so I don't know who's going to be the National Player of the Year, but from the looks at it, Kenny Chandler's got to be up in that conversation. And the fact that he didn't make an All-SEC preseason team is laughable.
That's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Laughable.
Him and John, like, how do you? I mean, I'm not going to get. I'm good. Got a lot to say about that. I'm not going to get into that. But I mean, this Tennessee team, I mean, they've got a lot of obviously good qualities to them, but they do have a lot of. I mean, they still have to figure out the front court situation. Who's going to be the guy that? I mean, you're obviously not getting a ton out of Urosh. Brandon Huntley Hatfield has looked good at times, but it's. I mean, you can tell he's the same age as Kennedy Chandler, but it's going to take him more time to obviously kind of get into the flow of things. They do play two different positions and two different types of games, but then you have Fulkerson and Kumwa who started the game for you, and as much better basketball this season that I think Kumal's played than he has his previous two, he's still got a long way to come.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like Tennessee is guard heavy. And
it's good they've changed. You mentioned they're guard heavy. It's good they've changed their game where they're going to benefit much more from that than they would have their previous seasons.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Buffalo didn't have Justin Powell came in. I know Tennessee didn't shoot very well, but we were athletic. We made things difficult on the defensive end where they just didn't really have an answer. I think that was the least amount of points they've scored in a home game since 2016.
Yeah, not as high scoring affair as you expect from this Tennessee team now.
Right. I mean, what did we shoot
Oh, not good. Victor Bailey didn't even attempt a shot.
Yeah, that was. He played.
I wouldn't have noticed that without going to this.
He didn't have any. He didn't do anything.
And with how quick of a trigger he's had on his 3-point attempts this year, how does he not get one off? Is kind of interesting.
I mean, he didn't record a stat except a foul.
That's some Caleb Mitchell basketball right there. I would have had a few more fouls. I'm gonna get in the stat column strong.
Yeah, I mean that's all he had. He had one personal foul, no rebounds, no assists. So I don't know if he just wasn't involved in the offense or anything, but yeah, just didn't really make an impact. Justin Powell played 28 minutes, was only 1 for 8 from the field. Still had some steals, assists, 5 points. And Josiah Jordan-James came back. I think that's what helps this front court out is having a guy like that can play wing and he can play in the post, get you 9 rebounds, had 4 blocks. I think he's able to kind of make up for the lack of production from the front court.
And I mean, Tennessee fans, you're going to be frustrated with the shooting, but he's going to help you in other areas of the game. I mean, that's who he is. Fortunately,
hey, I'll take 1 for 2 from 3 from Josiah Jordan-James. Now the 1 for 6 like Justin Powell went, that's going to happen every now and then. But I'd much rather Justin Powell do it than Josiah Jordan-James do it.
Fair. Justin Powell can shoot. He'll hit plenty.
Right.
He'll get his.
Yeah.
He'll get his.
And I thought Vescovi played. He's played well this whole season. I know he's really changed his diet and everything and made him, kind of change his body a little bit. I don't know if you can really tell a ton, but you can in his conditioning.
I think his defending's been much better this year.
Right.
I'm gonna have to go look at the box.
Yeah, he was 5 for 5 from the field, 3 for 3 from 3, 13 points. So gave Tennessee a huge boost at that other guard position, and I think he benefits a lot from having Kennedy Chandler.
Oh yes, we thought he would more last year. Unfortunately, he was still kind of the point guard role, but now you got a true point guard to he still brings the ball up the court, still handles, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and adapting. I mean, Rick Barnes, we were like, hey, play Keon, play Jaden last year. And now this year, Kennedy's blown up, which I know Kennedy Chandler's just different. But Zakai Ziegler and Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, I think he's adapted a little bit. Hey, if they can help you out, let's unleash them.
Right. Still loves. I mean,
6
Zakai
for 24
Ziegler, I know,
from 3. That's gotta be better. You can't beat a ton of teams shooting like that. I guess if you play defense like that, but
right,
that's definitely not ideal.
Yeah, I would agree. And then you get a tough matchup. I don't know if you want to mention anything else for the Colorado game before we go away from it, but you do have a tough matchup in Texas Tech. We mentioned in New York on Tuesday night. 7 p.m. tip on ESPN.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, this kind of goes into this next game too against Texas Tech. What's Tennessee in blocks? I mean, we had 8 blocks, and I think we averaged close to 6. I mean, we got to be close to leading the country in blocks, right?
Which is, you'd think, which is pretty incredible.
And we don't really have a true rim protector.
No, you lost your guy that did that job last year, and you're a little worried that Tennessee may struggle to to register a ton in that category. But yeah, they're averaging a little bit less than 6 per game. But they are where'd this go? They have 39 on the year.
Dang.
So I don't know where that ranks. But yeah, tough test coming up with Texas Tech. So they haven't played anybody though. That's the good news. But they're a good team.
Yeah, I think it's a different team than we've seen in the past. Beard went to Texas, so they don't have him. Matt McClung's gone, and I forget who else they had on that team. But yeah, it's a different Texas Tech team. I think they're still a pretty decent team. Yeah, it's going to be fun to kind of see this team in a neutral site game. We're just preparing for March. That's what we're doing. Getting ready for the NCAA tournament.
The out-of-conference schedule this year has been – you think footballs has been tough? Tennessee has not – Rick Barnes has not done his team any favors.
No, 100%.
So they
you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I had to flip this camera off for a second to fix this. You
naked?
Yeah, always. It's hot in here, man. We've got the wood burning stove getting ready for Yellowstone tonight, and
you're gonna
kind of set the mood, and I'm sweating.
Lay nude on a bearskin rug and watch Yellowstone.
I would actually love. That's a great idea. I might need to do that.
How much is a bearskin rug? Does anybody know that?
First off, I'm not getting a real one if I do it because there's no way they're cheap.
No. Let's see how much a bearskin rug is. That's a cowhide. I don't want a cow. I want a bear. That's definitely fake. That looks like a teddy bear.
I mean,
this looks 400.
400? Oh, we could do that. Write it off as an expense. Graham said he thinks Tennessee guards taking it to the rim is advantageous. I mean, I agree. I think that's what Tennessee's been missing the last 3 years is a guard that just takes the ball to the rim. It gives your team so much when you have that. And Tennessee's lacked that even when it's had good guards. Hasn't had one like Kennedy Chandler that not only gets to the rim, but also finishes at the rim. You had some of that with when they were trying to kind of iron out who that ball handler point guard guy was with Jordan Bone and Alontae Turner, and Jordan Bone kind of seemed to be the guy to finish at the rim more than often, but still looked to pass a lot and still, which is good. You want to create, but at some point you have to have a guy that when he's at the rim, he finishes.
Yeah, I think, it just gets to that point where like you don't have a huge cold spell because you have a guy that can just go get a basket. That's what Kenny Chandler did when we were down 8-0. He was like, "Screw this, we have to score."
Right.
And then he scored like that last 8 Tennessee points in the first half to give Tennessee that 10-point lead heading into halftime. And I think he had 16 at halftime. I mean, it was just like the Kenny Chandler show. And then, played well only scored 11 in the second half. But, when Tennessee needed a basket, Kenny Chandler's going to get there. Like, I want to say Purdue. Colorado, same colors. They cut it down to 5, and then Kenny Chandler scored like 2 more baskets to keep them away.
Right.
Again, they just didn't have an answer for the true freshman, and I think he's turning a lot of heads.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so sorry for looking at these blocks. You're going to be really upset. Do you know who leads the country in blocks?
Is it
Tennessee's
Purdue?
30th, by the way. It's not Purdue.
Oh, is it Kentucky?
It's Memphis.
Dude, they suck.
They're bad.
Memphis sucks.
Well,
I
their
hope we
coach
don't
is
lose
an
to them
idiot.
after I just said that, but
Right.
they are not good.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, their best player, literally, like, he's as big as this freaking headphone cord.
Well, that's who Tennessee loses to, Landon. Why do you got to bring that up?
I mean, you put Josiah Jordan-James, and he doesn't even sniff the rim.
I'd love to see it. You do have kind of leading up to that Memphis. You got Texas Tech on Friday, then UNC Greensboro on Saturday. I don't know anything about them. I feel like they're usually pretty decent though. On Saturday, what did I say? Friday?
Yeah, it's on Saturday. You said Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like they usually have a decent team in terms of the level they're at. I'm not sure what conference they play in. Then USC Upstate next Tuesday, and then that's Memphis that Saturday in Nashville. Tennessee making 2 trips to Nashville.
UNC Greensboro is in the Southern Conference.
Okay. So they're there with ETSU
right now.
Gotcha. They're there with the. Is that that's Southern. And then to finish off we talked about that challenging out of conference schedule. Number 11, Arizona on Wednesday. That'll be a home game for Tennessee.
Yep.
So good matchup, and then you get your winter break, and it's SEC time. Okay. All right. Little Wednesday night game.
Yeah.
Should be a good crowd in Knoxville. Should be.
Is it Christmas break? It will be Christmas break.
It will be. Yeah, it will be.
That sucks.
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to. I mean, they're
you're
probably
talking about
already
students.
out.
Oh, students. Yes, I thought you meant like Knox County, like families being able to go. Yeah, students won't come in droves to that game. But then you start off. I feel like is there usually an SEC game before the new year? I feel like they usually all start in January. Is that a
Muscovy's first game? I think was.
Is it right before like January?
I think it was like it was. Yeah, it was just like right before
December 29th. Gotcha. Okay.
Or maybe it was right after, but it seemed like it was right around that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that when was Ben Simmons playing for LSU then? Or was that
no?
I can't. No. Okay. When did they came to Knoxville? Didn't Ben Simmons play in Knoxville? I thought he did. That's why I was
he was only there for 1 year. So
right. So Tennessee finishing up a tough out of conference for playing Alabama to open up the SEC play. That is December 29th. So right before that.
They just beat Gonzaga last night.
Love to see it. So Alabama had a really good weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Good. They need it. That fan base needs it.
Right.
I hate it for them. They've had a tough decade. They've
been struggling
forever. Yeah. So good for them. They really.
I don't know what the hell that state did to get everything that they're getting right now.
Right. Let's talk college football this weekend. I don't know if you want to start with the SEC game because that was the SEC championship game was definitely the better of the run that we had. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch Friday's game. Glad I didn't. See Oregon which now Miami's trying to hire Mario Cristobal. Apparently, ball's in his court. Just waiting for ink to paper to hire him, but they do also still have a sitting coach. So just a bunch of weird things going down in Miami, which I would consider one of the shadier places.
Oh,
in general, just city of Miami.
I mean, weren't they giving like $1,500 to everybody who's on the team anyway? Just being.
I think it was like every athlete.
Yeah, that's whatever. But yeah, I told Joe on Thursday, I was like, Utah destroyed Oregon. I gotta think that they got to cover 3 points against them again. I didn't touch it. I don't know why I didn't, but that's what happens when I don't touch it. It works.
There was a path for Oregon to be a conference 2-loss team, conference champion 2-loss team, and get into the playoff. Chaos would have had to ensue, but if chaos ensued,
yeah.
If Georgia wins,
there was a lot of people.
If Georgia won, couldn't they? They could have been in the conversation.
Wait, Oregon?
Oregon? If they had won, Oregon had won and Georgia had won. Why would they? They're a 2-loss team. A 2-loss conference champion. You have Pitt, who's a 2-loss conference champion. The Big Ten champion's already in. Cincinnati's already in. Georgia's already in. They're in the. I'm not saying they make it, but all you do is win, and you're talking about a potential trip to the college football playoff, and you just get.
Well, Baylor's kind of in that same boat.
Yeah, Baylor too. Yeah,
but they put Notre Dame and Cincinnati. Cincinnati should not be in the playoff, but everybody else just screwed it up for themselves.
Right. That's an even better. Right. That's an even better point. If Cincinnati had lost, it's even more wide open.
Yeah.
Which you can't.
Pittsburgh's 11-2 with the conference championship.
I'm sorry, the committee wasn't going to just throw Notre Dame in there. If they would have talked Pitt and Baylor before they just put Notre Dame in there. They already made that clear this year, losing Brian Kelly. So you just win it. You win, and you put yourself in the conversation. That's all I'm saying. I don't think you're in automatically, but you put yourself in the conversation. They couldn't do that, which it worked out. They wouldn't have gotten in anyways, but
yeah.
Whatever. I don't know how they didn't do it. You talked about that Baylor-Oklahoma State game. First off, what color orange was Oklahoma State wearing? That was not their color of orange, right?
Yeah, they look like Clemson.
That's what I thought. I was like, how did Clemson find themselves in a conference title game?
Damn it, Dabo.
Yeah. Do anything around there, huh? But yeah, not their color orange. They come up. Everybody was saying it. That's the best pylon cam of the year out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how does that, how do you just fall down?
Ooh, here's my favorite debate. If Oklahoma State had won, do they get in over Georgia or Cincinnati?
Not over Georgia. They get in over Cincinnati, 100%.
So I kind of agree, but also here's my next question and why I asked Georgia. The argument's always been like when teams play these games close to the end of the year, they go, well, there's your playoff. Georgia losing to Alabama, would that not be a reason to go, there's your playoff? They lost to a playoff team, it's over.
Well, I think it's the same thing as like they knew that's going to be the national championship.
Right. I agree.
So
I'm just saying
they weren't going to make Georgia number 4, and they weren't going to make Alabama 2 and have Georgia at 3. They weren't going to make them play in the semifinal.
Yeah, which is incredibly dumb. That Alabama's number 1.
Right.
It's incredibly dumb. I know what the committee wanted. I'm just saying, for sake of the arguments that they've laid out on the table, could Cincinnati, who's 13-0 now, could Oklahoma State being 12-1 get in over a 12-1 Georgia team who just lost to who you're saying is the number 1 team, so they shouldn't beat them again because they got spanked by them too.
Right. Yeah.
Make it interesting, Oklahoma State. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, every opportunity. Just like Ohio State. I mean, they had an opportunity. Michigan State had an opportunity, and you just choke it away.
Right. Michigan took advantage of everything they were given after that horrible loss to Michigan State.
Yeah.
They should. We'll just talk college football playoff as we go through this. So let's settle down on this. I mean, we're not going to talk about Cincinnati beating Houston. I do want to talk about the Pitt Wake Forest game. We'll talk about that after this. Alabama put it on Georgia, but Michigan won 42-3 in a conference championship game. How do they get jumped to number 1?
Yeah, I mean, I like what I think you said on Twitter earlier. You're like, why didn't you make Alabama number 2 last week?
If you were going to say
back to 3, knowing if they beat Georgia, you're going to bump them up to 1.
Yeah, then they should have been 2.
Yeah.
If that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They should have been 2. And I would have said okay. Like that would have been fine. Michigan, but you thought Michigan's win over Ohio State was good enough to bump them to 2. But you didn't think them dominating in the Big Ten championship and then the number 1 team losing was justification to move them up. And then if you want to talk about merits of losses, so Michigan lost to Michigan State, who at the time were they number 2 in the country at that time?
No, I think they're like 6 or something like that.
Okay, so a top 10 team. That's their only loss. Alabama's only loss is to A&M.
Who's not a top 10 team.
Who's not a top 10. Hadn't sniffed it.
Or no.
And so the logic behind it doesn't make sense. It's very clear it was all to avoid a first-round matchup of Georgia and Alabama, which I do not think the college football playoff should ever consider, and they probably won't ever admit to considering it because it's not right. It's not how you should grade it. It's not how they played. It's who's number 1. And last week, according to your own rankings, Michigan should have been number 1.
Yeah. Here's the issue. Is you have 3 teams that are deserving of the college football playoff, and you have everybody else whoever that 4th team is going to get blown out. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, so cool, have Cincinnati be it, but like no one else is going to be competitive against Alabama if they play like they did against Georgia.
Right. It should have been Cincinnati this year. They were the most deserving of the leftovers.
Right.
If Notre Dame was,
would you have Oklahoma State or Cincinnati in if Oklahoma State would have won?
See, I just struggle with it because if you're going to say wins and losses matter, it goes back into the whole debate that they shouldn't be competing for the same national title as Oklahoma State.
Yeah, right.
So I would think Cincinnati would need to be in it personally. If you're going to say all the crap you say and do all the crap you do, but when you get into a one-loss conference champion, you do have those conferences for a reason, and you got to justify them being there for a reason. It's like, I mean, it's almost Oklahoma State. And I would say an 11-1 Notre Dame team, if your loss wasn't to Cincinnati, they could have potentially jumped Cincinnati.
Yeah, they probably would have. But the committee screwed up. They somehow they put Cincinnati at 4, and Cincinnati was just going to keep winning, so you can't drop them for winning.
Well, they
dropped Michigan, I guess.
Yeah, No, they definitely – I don't know what they thought would happen to kind of iron that out because it would have been hard to make Oklahoma State jump them.
Yeah.
But I think they probably – I'm in agreement that they probably would have.
Yeah, I think they would have too.
But it's stupid, and college football needs to go over. I mean, yeah, Graham Cincinnati's strength schedule is terrible, but they're kind of at the mercy of college football in that sense. Like they're not a Power 5 team, so they can only be so good. And if you're going to tell a team to go out there and win all their games and – you know, they did beat Notre Dame, well, then you got to give them considerations. So,
yeah, I think that was a fault of Notre Dame. They just kept winning. So that win over Notre Dame for Cincinnati just kept looking better and better and better.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the season went on, it just looked like a better win because they kept winning. And now they're the number 5 team. Cincinnati can say we're undefeated and we beat a top 5 team.
Right. And then, I mean, if you talk about putting Oklahoma State in, I think then that brings Notre Dame into the conversation because you're like, well, Notre Dame went 11-1. I would guess their strength schedule is pretty dang close to Oklahoma State's. And then Oklahoma State's losses to Iowa State. The only thing they have over Cincinnati is they're a Power 5 team.
Yeah. Our
loss is at least to a top 25 opponent, top 10 opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think if you're going to talk about Oklahoma State being in it, now you're talking about Notre Dame being in it.
I just can't believe Tennessee's not in it.
It's ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. I do want to talk about the Pitt Wake Forest game. Started off really fun, by the way. I was like, oh, I switched the TVs. I had the Big Ten championship on the big one, switched them when I was like, this game's going to be better. And ended up not being the greatest. Pitt kind of took control of it. I want to talk specifically about the fake slide because I am very annoyed with people who want to make a rule about a fake slide. I just want anyone, if anyone's listening, or if you can do this, name me the last time any player has done a fake slide.
Michael Vick in the NFL, but he actually slid and then got
and
up.
He actually slid.
Which now you can't do that.
Right. Which is, I think it's totally different when you're talking about hitting the ground.
Right.
But it's like,
I mean, it's like the same as a juke.
It's an even better example. How many times can you name a player faking this? Just think this season, and you would have seen it on Top 10 if it resulted in anything. Fake running out of bounds.
I mean, couldn't anybody do a fake slide? It doesn't have to be a quarterback,
right?
Or anybody could slide.
And I mean, if you just watch the play, the Purdue players don't give up like where you would have hit him. So it's all like, oh, they had to pull up to avoid taking his head off. It's like, no, they pulled up 5 yards short of him. That's why he was able to do it.
Right.
But then I get like, so we're talking about Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. How many quarterbacks are way more athletic than him in college football right now? Can run better than Kenny Pickett. And they haven't done it.
Yeah.
So it's just like there doesn't need to be a rule for that. The players all they need to do, you've seen it happen all the time, is when you hit the quarterback as he's going down, you just kind of touch him. You don't have to take his head off. And I'm not getting into the rule about how soft football is and how dumb targeting. Like I am in support of that too, but I don't want to make another rule to try to correct that rule. So we're not going to we shouldn't be making up more dumb rules to try to fix a dumb rule. Kenny Pickett pulled off a really good move. He never started his slide. If he had, he would have slid because unless he's just a freak athlete. Right. He just drug his leg, slowed down. You see hesitation moves all the time, and then went because those guys pulled up. It was a great play that took awareness. He
did a double move with a ball.
Right. He didn't try to, and if you talk to him, if you listen to him talk about it, he did not go, I'm going to fake slide here. He went down to start sliding. He saw the player stop and went. Mm-hmm. If you punish a player for that, the players got punished for giving up on the play because they still gave up on the play way too early.
Yeah.
I don't think if any defensive coach is crying about that, then don't cry to your players about giving up on plays ever. Because that's what happened. Your Purdue defense gave up on plays.
Wake Forest,
sorry.
Same colors.
Same colors. Yeah. The Wake Forest they just gave up on the
play. Mine's on Purdue, man.
Also, why, making dumb, why would you ever want to take away a play like that? That was awesome. Why? Who saw that play and their first thought was, that's got to be fixed?
Also, if the player doesn't give up on the play, Kenny Pickett could be in the hospital. Because if he does that fake slide and he's just standing there just wide open and that safety doesn't give up and just smacks him, it's a risky play. It paid off for Kenny Pickett, but it could very well ended very badly for him.
Right. Yeah, and he would have had to. Whatever. So don't say that. You're giving the NCAA ideas how to protect players now.
Yeah. Also, it didn't really have an impact on the outcome of the game. Pittsburgh.
It's just, that too, and I just get into why make more dumb rules to correct dumb rules.
Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of plays where the quarterback's starting to go to the ground that he gets his head taken off that I think most people can agree need to be taken out of any sport.
Yeah.
Let's see. Billy Napier. I do want to mention this. Stayed with this team for one last week. Got the win over Appalachian State. I respect that.
Yeah, good for them. They got a freaking home game. How did that happen?
I guess they don't have a site for the game.
I guess so. It goes to the top.
Or maybe it moves around schools and it ended up at Louisiana this year. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Look that up. Conference. But yeah, I respect when coaches are like, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna finish out my season. Unlike Brian Kelly, who had an opportunity to be in the college football playoff and just bolted. So
how about our guy Brady Hoke just getting absolutely demolished in the Mountain West?
Yeah, and that punter, I don't know his name. He had a safety.
Oh, did he?
Did it get blocked? I think it got blocked. And then it ended up in a safety. Very not good for the brand. Not good for the brand.
Yeah, also is the Big Ten West, is that just the worst division in all of sports?
It's terrible. Is it West? I thought it was North and South. Is it East and West?
I thought it was East and West.
It may be. Well, it used to be Legends and
yeah, it's big. So Michigan's in the Big Ten East.
Okay.
Can we do some switching a little bit?
Right.
Maybe people say that about the West and East and in the SEC, but at least Georgia is. We have Georgia. They have Iowa. Iowa is terrible.
Yeah, they haven't.
They're the worst 10-win team I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's hard to argue with that.
That was horrible. I understand you're not Iowa most of the time their unders hit because they have such a good defense, but you give up 42 and only score 3 points. That's ugh.
It wasn't a good game.
No, and they had to have a blocked punt against Nebraska to even be there.
Right. Which is good. Nebraska losing is hilarious.
Oh my God.
Keep that train going.
Okay, so they destroyed Maryland, but beat Penn State by 3, lost to Purdue, lost to Wisconsin, beat Northwestern by 5, which Northwestern is one of the worst Power 5 teams in the country. Beat Minnesota by 5, beat Illinois by 10, beat Nebraska by 8. They don't have any They don't have any good wins except Penn State, and Penn State I don't think was very good either.
Yeah, it's not a great win. Decent, good conference win, but no, not a. I mean, Iowa got in because that division wasn't very good, like you said. So
yeah. So who do you have? Wisconsin, Iowa. Who else is in that division?
Nebraska's in that division, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess.
Rutgers, I think, is in that division.
No. Where they get? Where's their bowl game at?
Oh God. Oh yeah. Or sorry, the West Division. Rutgers is in the East. Purdue, Minnesota, Illinois, and Northwestern. Northwestern went 1-8 in conference play. Ugh.
You know, holy crap! That's how Purdue's in the Music City Bowl.
Yeah. Not a good year for the West Division.
I mean, all they did was beat up on everybody else.
Yeah, not a great year for the Big Ten West. So,
oh, Lord,
yikes. Do we have any questions? I haven't seen any get dropped in here.
I haven't seen any either.
All right, we ready for most important of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, just got this one from Tennessee Stats. Lady Vol Hoops snapped Virginia Tech's 63-game home winning streak against non-conference opponents.
Damn.
Wow. It's a lot of games.
They're 8-0, right?
Yes. Don't hold me to that. Yes.
Ooh, I did want to mention one thing before college football. Notre Dame hiring Marcus Freeman. You like it or don't like it? Because it seems like everybody else did a head coach, and they hired from within, which, you know, they are kind of a blue blood in college football. So do you like that move or do you not?
I mean, I don't hate it for the basis that he's not been a head coach. I mean, I think there's not a perfect formula to getting the right head coach. So I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. I don't think it's a terrible hire. I think it's clear that you mentioned this earlier that the players wanted him. And then I think in the kind of the year that college ball is going to be with hires, you're going to kind of be slim pickings anyways. So it might be a good way to kind of make sure your program's stabilized for the next few years. I think with a hire like this, though, you're gonna have to kind of be on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, I think it's kind of risky for sure.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily hate it. I don't hate it right out the gate. I don't.
I think it could be good. I mean, I don't think he makes them worse, but I definitely don't think he makes them better. Like, they're not going to get better just because Marcus Freeman was there. I know he handled recruiting and stuff like that. The offensive coordinator is staying there. I think he's only 29. The offensive coordinator is.
Okay.
I forget who it is. And then he's only 35. So, you know, maybe they are able to get recruits and stuff like that. But, I mean, every time Notre Dame gets an opportunity in the playoff or something like that, they just screw it up. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be a contender more so than they are now anytime soon.
No, I mean, unless he just blows it out of the water. I gotta agree with that take for now. So
yeah. I mean, the players seem to like it, so maybe that does something for you. But it's a little worrisome not having a. You know, we kind of did the whole coordinator route, and I mean, ours just doesn't work for a number of reasons. But
right.
But I thought that was a weird move, being like such a, you know, being this close to the college football playoff and, you know, have an 11-win team and then hiring from within. Because you could have got somebody there.
I think so. I think it was definitely like going out and getting someone would have been tougher this year than maybe next year or 2 years from now. Especially because you kind of got into it late. Yeah. But you mentioned them being a blue blood. People want to coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They do.
What about Venables to Oklahoma? Do you think that happens?
It looks like it's happening, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat. I got to see it to believe that he's actually going to leave Clemson.
That's another coordinator hire. I mean, he's obviously, been at Oklahoma and he's won a lot. And I mean, you hired Lincoln Riley, who was a coordinator. So,
I mean, if it happens, he's been on the road recruiting for Clemson. I mean, I know you kind of have to do that, but that's, again, you're kind of getting that transfer portal thing where, if you're telling a kid you're going to be there and he goes there and you're recruiting him, I mean, he's going to get out of that NIL.
Yeah.
Or not NIL.
So many. Yeah. NLI.
Yeah.
So many. Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. I think that'd be a pretty good hire. I mean, his name's been around a lot in these last couple searches that have happened. So I think it would surprise a lot of people just because the relationship he has with Dabo, but Oklahoma may just kind of be the right fit for him. And they called him. So.
Yeah, maybe get your feet wet a little bit until you come to the SEC, and then you're in a gauntlet every single year.
Yep.
Maybe kind of get established. And now's the time to do it because you don't want to wait until they're in the SEC to try to play catch up. We're out there now, and it's not fun.
I'm looking for any more most importance that I have. Did you see? I meant to tweet this out. Did you see this Eagles video? This guy, this offensive lineman, just yelling at another one.
Landon! Please buckle me up.
This is just my most important for you. He just yells Landon all the time. Landon!
I feel attacked.
No, he's being held.
He's trying to come after me.
No, he's getting some help, man.
He wants help.
He's relying on Landon. Yeah.
Okay.
So
help. That's awesome.
Other than that, I've got fails.
I have one most important. The Memphis Grizzlies beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 152-79.
That was awesome.
The biggest margin of victory in NBA history.
Insane.
Wow. And it's I know Memphis is better than they have been, but it's not if you're gonna say one team is gonna have the biggest margin of victory in NBA history, it wouldn't have been. I would have never guessed Memphis is gonna be on the right hand of that.
Right. I'm shocked the Warriors haven't somehow been just attached to that lately.
Right.
Let's see. I've got fails.
Yo,
I'm gonna start in high school football. I hope you can see this. Let's see if I can get it up here. God bless. Okay, so they called this a catch. Just wait for the replay. I should have done better research here and had it ready to go on the. This is in a state championship game, folks. I know there's no review, but it's not even close.
Oh my God.
Not even close. I mean,
was that Alcoa?
No, yeah, East Nashville versus Alcoa, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which so that kid
it didn't matter anyway.
They must have gave that kid some credit because he did have some incredible catches throughout that game. So they must have been like, he probably caught it.
Yeah, he good. Yeah, they're trying to give them something because. And what can you do? That sucks to be in 3A, and
yep.
We have this historic season, then we have to play Alcoa, who would beat everybody except for maybe some of the top teams in 6A, but they'd play with them.
They'd play with Summit.
Yeah,
Oakland would be tough, but
yeah,
two teams that played in 6A. My next one, did you see the guy from KSR tweet that Mark Stoops is the greatest coach in Kentucky football history, and he will be here for the rest of his career? It's time to build the statue.
Yeah, we actually talked about this.
Did you? First off, don't build a statue for a guy that's still there for so many reasons. Second off, he's not the best coach in Kentucky football history, statistically speaking. So that's weird.
That's a good point. Bear?
He's an idiot. Statistically, it's Bear. He has more wins, and they coached, I think.
Not
Bear
Bear on game day, though, right?
No,
Bear,
no,
Bear
God,
Bryant.
no. He has no wins. But yeah, statistically speaking, Bear Bryant's still better than him.
Well, that's unfortunate. We talked about that a little bit because some rider had the check mark, so he's famous for sure. But he was like, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." He was like, "I don't understand why other fan bases are chiming in. Go ahead and do it. No one knows what statues like Tennessee, South Carolina, and all this other teams have." And I was like, "Well, South Carolina has a big $1 million cock."
Oh, did you not see my reply to that one? I was like, if you didn't know these two statues, and I attached that ugly tiger and that massive cock, and was like, if you don't know these, are you even a college football fan? I was like, I know exactly what. I was like, you couldn't name other schools that I have no chance at guessing a statue, like A&M, LSU. Like you had to name the two that I know exactly what statues they have, and they're terrible. So this doesn't help your cause anymore. That I'm only aware of the worst statues of all time, and you just equated your team to those. So
yeah, if you want to do a statue of a smaller cock, go ahead. Go ahead and put
beautiful
there.
My reply must not have sent because it's not there.
It'd be funny if they butchered it too, like the Ronaldo statue thing.
Yeah. Well, did you see the picture of the statue he recommended? It was like half khaki.
Butchered.
It wasn't even. It looked terrible. It was like he clearly tried to do it himself and forgot an entire leg. Yeah, it was bad.
I also have one for it's for Summit. First of all, they had the kids run out with Kentucky flags at a Tennessee. I mean, cool. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Let them run through, come to Tennessee with Kentucky flags, and leave with a loss. That's usually what happens. So
that was very dumb. I've never seen anything like that. That was weird.
Yeah,
maybe that's common.
I've
never seen it.
You kind of dug your own grave with that one.
Yeah, never seen that before. My last one.
Also, that would not have flown in our student section. If somebody was doing that, I'd be like, hell no.
I don't care where that kid's going to school. You're not flying a Kentucky flag.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it as a fan. If I was just a fan of that program and saw that, I'd go and rip that down.
Oh yeah.
Our boy Penny Hardaway, he said if he had been playing the players that care the most all season, Memphis would be undefeated. That's a bad indictment on your coaching, big dog. You can't play the right players. That's your job.
At least he has some. He's self-aware.
Somewhat of it, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
Does he feel untouchable at Memphis? He's got to be, right?
He has to. Yeah, has to be, or has to feel that. That's all my fails.
This is a stupidity, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'll say it again on Thursday. So, it's Dan Wolken. He says, it is absolute insanity that people talk seriously about Michigan firing Harbaugh a year ago. And then somebody tweeted it as soon as he said it. I guess they had it waiting because it's awesome. But He said it was a article from Dan Wolken over a year ago. Said Michigan's latest loss is more reason to believe Jim Harbaugh can't win big there.
Yeah, he's an idiot. I mean, and to himself, he's an idiot. So
yeah, insubordinate and churlish.
I love when Dan Wolken can make himself look stupid. He's done it.
I just wish I could see his tweets. It'd be so much better, but I can't. So I only get like half of them because of screenshots.
Yeah, I'm not blocked by him. I guess we think we've talked about this. I guess I haven't said anything mean enough, but which I don't. I just ignore him. So
yeah,
that's.
I mean, he just gives us content, so I appreciate him. There's always got to be one.
Right. I'm going through Twitter here. So, and looking at the people who were in home this weekend was, just want to make sure that Rodney Garner was on campus this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was here with Walter Nolan. I mean, he was part of his why.
Okay. Just want to make sure he wasn't out on the road because some Tennessee coaches were out on the road. So,
for that reason,
want to make sure he was here for the guy that
he should be here for.
Yeah,
he was. But you'll probably see them back on the road this week, but I'd say the majority were back here for, especially position coaches and things like that were here for the official visits.
Perfect. That's what you want to make sure of.
Yeah. We're doing it the right way.
Exactly. That's all I got. I'm ready for Yellowstone. So
let's do it.
Guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back Thursday. So,
yep.
Look forward.
See y'all Thursday. Y'all have a good Monday. Balls play on Tuesday, Madison Square Garden against Texas Tech. So hopefully Tennessee gets a win there. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.